So I was scrolling down the comments of one of my older videos titled Do Some Research, ppsimmons, in where I refuted some of ppsimmons' obviously flawed claims. Naturally, this was when I almost first started out, and my video making skills are a little worse than they already are. And ppsimmons is a fairly well-known, well-subscribed to creationist here on YouTube, and yeah, I got a load of his trolls on my comments page. Not that I would pay much attention to these trolls, but one of them did bring up a comment that did strike a little bit of thought into me. So, the gist of the comment essentially goes like this. Well, have you stayed behind millions of years to see things evolve? I didn't think so. Creationism wins, atheism fails, haha. And yes, being the troll that he is, insulted me some more after that, and insulted atheists some more after that. Well, I didn't pay much attention to that part. The part that really caught me was, well, what exactly do creationists use as their standard of proof? See, with us atheists, it's not really all that high, because atheism is just the rejection of claims, not the positive proof, but rather the negative. That we say that there is no God, that we don't believe in a religion, and we don't have a dogma. There is no proof necessary to prove these claims, because it is a rejection of the claim. But what this troll, and what many other creationists seem to think represents the majority of us atheists, are a bunch of scientifically literate, educated people such as like Christopher Hitchens and Richard Dawkins and Sam Harris, those kinds of people. The first thing I would like to point out is that's not necessarily true. Many atheists are just as uneducated as many theists are. I just happen to have an interest in the area, so I did a little bit of reading up on it, which is not to say that I'm formally educated in any areas like evolutionary biology, microbiology, or cosmology. However, I will say that I'm at least well-versed in certain general sciences, enough to understand the whole scientific method and the process of peer review. So at this point, you might be wondering, well, what does this troll's comment have to do with, well, anything? The topic of this video is essentially standard of proof, and what standard of proof we atheists have, and what standard of proof creationists have. With us atheists, it's not very high because, as I've already said before, we're not trying to prove anything. However, what creationists often refer to as atheists are scientifically literate people, and they do have a different standard of proof. It's just a coincidence. Actually, I shouldn't say it's a coincidence. Rather, it just happens to be that many scientifically literate people happen to be atheists as well. So what do scientists use for their standard of proof? Well, they would need a type of proof that is observable, testable, repeatable, and verified by other scientists. This is essentially the process of peer review, where we have one scientist's work being put to the test by a group of other scientists who will verify whether the scientist's findings are true or not. So is evolution a scientific theory? Well, hell yes it is. It has been observed in nature, it has been proven through genetics, proven through homologous traits, proven through the fossil record. It has been observed, and it has been verified by other scientists alike. The proof for evolution is concrete, observable, and testable. That is not, however, to say that the theory of evolution is perfect. It may very well be that the theory of evolution is 100% incorrect, but with the way the evidence is pointing, that's highly unlikely. We have observed evolution in the present, and with that data, we can extrapolate backwards millions, maybe even billions of years in the past. Of course, there are many creationist critics who will charge the theory of evolution with using inaccurate methods to prove its claims. For example, the most common one is carbon dating doesn't work. To a certain extent, that is true. Carbon dating doesn't work after trying to date something over 60,000 years old, and it doesn't work with certain organisms quite as well as others. But that's not to say that carbon dating is completely inaccurate and unscientific. Scientists have tested known age subjects with the carbon dating method, and the results have been the same as the known age. So yes, carbon dating is a scientifically proven method of dating subjects. Besides, even if carbon dating was unreliable, we still have about, 200 other methods of radiometric dating? Then you creationists might go, well, no. All radiometric dating is inaccurate. Yeah. Oh, really now? Yeah, it's one thing to say that radiometric dating is inaccurate. It's another thing to try and prove it altogether. I'm honestly not trying to appeal to the masses here, and I hope you don't misunderstand me as such, but it seems fairly unlikely that all the scientists in the scientific community happen to be promoting some unreliable, non-scientific method of dating subjects, and yeah, all of them happen to agree to participate in this conspiracy, and not one word of it was breathed out to the media. And with all due respect, creationists, this is the kind of backhand dishonesty I've seen in many creation scientists, not actual scientists. And I again raise the question, what is the standard of proof you creationists use to verify if something is true or not? Funny, because the last time I checked, none of the Bible was actually verified and proven to be true. Not one time has a miracle been scientifically quantified and observed and have been tested to have violated the laws of science as we know it. Not one time, last I checked, has prayer been used as an effective method for healing, a method that is somehow more superior than medicinal means. So I get really annoyed sometimes when theists ask me to prove evolution as if the proof wasn't sitting in front of them. Not to mention that we don't have a burden of proof. The burden of proof is on you guys to prove your claims to us. And on top of that, you guys have a lousy way of determining fact, considering how you have a double standard in regards to standard of proof. What do I mean by this? Well, considering how you creationists seem to easily believe the claims in a 6,000-plus-year-old book written by desert nomads with less than a third-grade education, and 60 years after the events supposedly happened, and yet when scientists are trying to prove their claims, you need them to fulfill an extremely high standard of proof. Not that science has a problem with fulfilling such a high standard, but when science offers you proof that conflicts with your beliefs, you creationists just instantly shut it out of your mind, your thought process completely shuts down, and you pull up some lame-ass excuse to discredit science, like, well, we don't think radiometric dating is accurate. You know, if everyone started to use creationist logic, that would be a pretty interesting place to live in. Like, if a criminal was put on trial for murder and the prosecution brought up like a murder weapon with their DNA on it, and the criminal asked the prosecution, well, I don't think you guys have the grounds to accuse me of committing murder because DNA testing is inaccurate. I know I'm kind of joking about it now, but seriously, creationists, what are you going to say next? That you don't think that gravity is accurate? You don't think that the atomic theory is accurate? You don't think the germ theory is accurate? You don't think quantum physics is accurate? I mean, it's odd how you would willingly accept gravity as a scientific fact and not evolution, when there has been just as much proof to prove the theory of evolution as there has been to prove gravity. So, whenever I'm confronted with something like, well, carbon dating isn't accurate, or you haven't tested evolution, then I have to ask, well, what's your standard of proof? Thanks for watching, and may the truth always be heard.